Let freedom ring from every hill and every molehill in Mississippi.
Look at you! He's like, oh, now this is a good one. This a good boy. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?
From every state, every city, every...
Look at him! Look at him! Look at Trump, man. He like, look at this fucking raccoon, boy. That boy, he tap dancing. God damn, I ain't seen tap dancing this good in a minute. So if you watch my channel, more than likely you've been recommended this video as well by Pillboy. It's titled The Art, or the Price, I should say, The Price of Self-Respect by Pillboy. It's a long video. It's an hour long. Maybe we'll react to the whole thing. Maybe we'll react to it in parts. Let's dive in.
Look, I don't know if you heard, but racism is officially over. It only took 4 centuries of state violence, exploitation, and mass incarceration, but we finally did it.
That's
Look,
amazing.
Don't celebrate too loud now, all right? They'll call it ghetto
amazing.
and unruly. This channel became dedicated to black media analysis because of my obsession with black art and entertainment. And I know I sound like a broken record at this point, but it's because it's damn near impossible to separate racial politics from how we as black people interact with media. It doesn't matter what form it takes, be it music, film, dance, poetry, hell, even something as simple as streaming or podcasting.
Yeah.
Every single expression of black media is shaped and contextualized by racial politics.
For sure.
Whether or not that was the creator's intention and what...
Every black person in America, their life is heavily influenced by race. Even the raccoons who want to pretend that race doesn't matter, their entire personality becomes the black person that doesn't see race, or the black person that pretends race doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? It's like, even when they're trying to pretend like race doesn't matter, their personality, which is why they're always the same. They all act the same, they dress the same, they all have the same chopped hairline, they all have the same whack fashion sense. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, even in you trying to pretend, bro, it's still clearly having a huge impact on you.
Whether or not the audience even notices it on the surface. And I keep hammering this point in my videos because acknowledging that reality isn't just important, it's inescapable. These politics don't just shape our art, they shape us. They affect how we move, how we operate, how we present ourselves, and even how we succeed. And that success is never neutral. It's directly tied to the implicit roles you're boxed into as a black person in our media landscape.
This entire country was founded on the basis of race. You understand that, right? It was founded on the basis of race because this country was built on slavery, and race was the thing that determined whether you were a free person who could own property or if you were a slave and were considered property. And we've never done anything to change the model. Sure, slavery was abolished, but the capitalistic system on which it was built is still the same system that America runs on. And so, of course, race continues to matter.
Even those roles aren't
more than matter.
Wide open. They come with boundaries, expectations, and a silent set of rules. You end up walking a really scary tightrope, one that forces you to balance your authenticity against white comfort. Lean too far into honesty and you're branded angry, radical, or ungrateful. Pull back too much and you're seen as safe, at the expense of hollowing yourself out to fit inside an acceptable comfort zone.
Yeah,
so
that.
What do you do when you're in that position as a black person navigating these spaces? Do you play by the rules, sanding yourself down just enough to fit in? Or do you push back and risk being branded as too extreme? Well, there's always a third option, one that pays well, works every time, and never fails to get applause. That's right, kids, you can be a
Black Americans do not know how to resolve basic conflicts.
I hate Candace Owens with a burning passion in my heart, bro. Deep in my heart. Truly, I do. I hate that woman.
Being a is an easy way to bag. It's the oldest hustle in the book. Trade your people's dignity for a seat at the table, even if that seat is just for show. And in a media landscape where white comfort is currency, nothing pays better than telling racist white folks exactly what they want to hear and showing them what they want to see.
I want to tell every single African American person that's watching this video.
Look at the hairline, bro. Every fucking time. Every fucking time.
You are not oppressed. Do not believe the lie. You are not a victim. You are a victor.
And that's why it's important to be precise here, because it isn't just an insult we throw at another black person we don't like or disagree with. It has a very specific meaning. Is a black person who deliberately performs or promotes harmful stereotypes about their own community, not out of ignorance or passivity, but as a deliberate act to gain approval, protection, or profit from white audiences and institutions. It doesn't matter the decade or the time period. White institutions reward it, white audiences eat it up, and the system is built to amplify it. It's effective because it props up the same lies that keep racism alive, validating and entertaining racism while reassuring those in power that nothing really needs to change.
Let freedom ring from every hill and every molehill in Mississippi.
Look at you! He's like, oh, now this is a good one. This a good boy. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?
From every state, every city, every...
Look at him! Look at him! Look at Trump, man. He like, look at this fucking raccoon, boy. That boy, he tap dancing. God damn, I ain't seen tap dancing this good in a minute.
In every hamlet.
I like this one. I like it. Look at the head tilt. I like this one. I'm gonna put one of these in the corner of my room. I like this one. I'm gonna turn them on, you know. Beep. Do that thing I like. Do that little dance, that shuck and jive you did on the stage. Yeah, I like that one. Somebody get me some KFC.
And when we let freedom ring, we will be able to speed up that day for all of your children.
Oh my God!
That's why it's so damn profitable. So long as racism exists, so will it. But that's what simultaneously makes it so dangerous. Because every time a tap dances and performs, it doesn't just reflect on them, it reflects on all of us. Their words and actions become ammunition, recycled as proof that racism is exaggerated or that black struggle is self-inflicted. And since so much of depends on white approval, it almost always gravitates towards conservatism. The politics most invested in pretending racism is over and inequality is just about personal responsibility.
Yet they can't stop saying the N-word. Racism is over according to them, but they can't stop saying the N-word.
Responsibility.
You know that white supremacy and white nationalism ranks nowhere near the top of the issues that are facing Black America. And the reason that you are bringing them up in this room is because it is an attempt to make the election all about race.
I hate her guts. I hate her guts.
That's what makes a so valuable to white audiences. They get to see a black face echo their talking points back at them, wrapping white comfort in black credibility. The more that caricature circulates, the more it solidifies until it hardens into policy, into prejudice, and into everyday justifications for inequality. Isn't just self-destructive, it's collective collateral damage. The individual cashes the check, but the community pays the price. Be it minstrelsy or political pundits, we've always looked down on the folks who choose to perform like this, and for good reason. But what do? In a digital age where these bad faith actors aren't confined to a single stage, but endless screens, what can you even do? Wait, combat this? Like that? Why beat them when you can just join them? Being a is easier than ever before.
Oh, facts. In
America, does racism exist?
Absolutely not.
Oh, God.
And it has never existed.
Whoa!
It has
wow.
Never,
whoa!
It's a made-up word.
People jump so quick.
Jesus Christ, man. Lord have mercy.
And they tense up at the thought of racial profiling. It's so wrong. It's so wrong. What is marketing? It's profiling. That's what marketing is.
White supremacy and the KKK. Really? That's what you guys want me to be concerned with this week? Do I look like an idiot?
Yeah.
As long as racism is profitable, there will always be a demand for some eager, happy-go-lucky Negro willing to sell it back with a smile. Playing into negative racial tropes is one of the fastest ways to get paid, but that money doesn't come free. With it comes the cost of harming your own people, alienating yourself from your community, or worst of all, selling your...
Either you're an idiot or you're evil. Those are the only two options, okay? Those are the only two options to explain how you can end up like this.
Your own dignity. With that being said, whip out your tap dancing shoes and get ready to dive in. And together, let's find out if all the wealth...
Like, even just the smallest amount of research into history, into the factors that have resulted in black people being where they are, why the wealth gap is where it is. Like, okay, you have a problem with blacks in the ghetto. Just look into how the blacks got into the ghettos. Huh? Right? These are the same people who talk endlessly about two-parent households. What? Acknowledging that the circumstances in which you are born in, the people that you're surrounded by, it impacts significantly the outcomes of your life. But why does it stop in the home? Why does it stop with the parents, right? What about the people who force the parents to be in a certain situation, right? You have to look at the system. Why is it that poor whites live on acres of land in the middle of the country and poor blacks are forced to live in ghettos, right? Why is that the case? We have so much land in this country. Why did poor blacks not end up in the same place as poor whites?
Let's find out if all the wealth, fame, and influence is worth the price of self-respect.
The price of self-respect.
Talk about slave, man. Wasn't nothing wrong with slavery. At least we got good food back then.
As usual, before we get started, let's establish something. I want to further clarify our definition of what makes a and why it's not always the same thing as a black person being conservative. As I'm sure there's some black conservatives out there just waiting to pounce on this video and cry with the whole independent thinker spiel.
Oh,
Being
yeah,
black
for sure.
and conservative doesn't by default make you a
This is true.
right there being a hell of a lot of overlap between
Facts,
the two. The
for
difference
sure.
lies in intent and performance. There's a
Okay.
lot of black folks that favor conservative politics out of ingrained survival. Centuries of this nation's history have taught us that black dissent, resistance, or even just demanding equity is often met with brutal repression in both violence and policy. For
Right.
some, leaning into conservatism is less about selling out and more about seeking safety, stability, or trying to navigate a system that punishes resistance. Mind you, this logic is still extremely counterproductive and harmful.
Yeah.
There isn't any reputable data that shows that conservative policies benefit black Americans economically or socially on
Right.
any mass scale. It just denotes how some of it can still come from a place of good faith. But
And I think what leads a lot of black people or some black people to being conservative minded, besides, of course, being brainwashed with the poison that is Christianity, is this idea of self-reliance, right? They've bought into this idea that you can just pull yourself up by the bootstraps, and black people, we need to just lock in and do the hard work, and that's what's going to uplift us. Don't look to the white man for help. Stop looking to the government for assistance, even though the billionaire class is the greatest recipient of welfare in this country. The people that you look towards as your role models of look what can happen if you just, work hard in a capitalistic society. These people, the grand majority of them, are only wealthy because they're literally just robbing the treasury. They're robbing the American taxpayer. I mean, Elon Musk, he would have gone bankrupt several times over if it were not for all of the bailouts and the handouts and the grants and the tax breaks that he has received from the government. And so, although I believe that you're wrong, it doesn't mean you're necessarily anti-black, right? It doesn't mean you're throwing your people under the bus, you're talking shit about your people, pandering to white people. You're just wrong. And sometimes you're wrong, right? In my opinion, what makes you a raccoon is when you start to demonize black people, throw black people under the bus for the sake of white approval. That's what I think. That's when you start to move into being a raccoon. When you start to lie about black people, right? Making up statistics, pushing false narratives and stereotypes for the sake of getting pats on the head from the white man, making the white man feel more comfortable and feel better about racism, trying to help them to alleviate their white guilt and any sense of responsibility or accountability that their community has for rectifying the sins of their ancestors. And why is it that that responsibility falls on their shoulders? Because they're still continuing to benefit from the sins of their ancestors. If my dad steals all of your dad's money and then both of our fathers die, and now I'm wealthy because I got to be raised in wealth because my dad stole all your dad's money, and now you're poor and impoverished and struggling, I am morally obligated to help you. I shouldn't be put in prison for my father's crime, but morally, ethically, your life is shit because of something my father did, something that is directly benefiting me. The raccoon comes along and tries to make me feel better about this situation and tells me that I am not obligated to help you and that you can go help yourself, right? I didn't tell my dad to do that. That's just how life is. Life is cold. Life is harsh. This is what the raccoon does.
Deliberately performs or promotes harmful narratives about their own people, not because they believe it in good faith, but because it buys them approval, protection, or profit from white audiences and institutions. They're not just conservative, they're performers. They're actively putting on a show, embodying roles that serve oppressive systems while personally benefiting them. It all boils down to their intent and performance. It's deliberate, it's a show, it reinforces racist myths, and most importantly, it's transactional. The individual trades dignity and community for validation and reward. That's not survival. That's a spineless, shameless spectacle. A spectacle that, as we're about to see, has no universal form. To kick us off, we're gonna dive into the main archetypes that like to perform, exploring not just how and why they're so lucrative, but how they ultimately do nothing more than benefit white supremacy at the end of the day. Looking to cash in your dignity for a few coins and a milkshake? Want to make white folks laugh and hate you at the same time? Don't worry, I've got just the right pair of white gloves for you.
Enough is enough, and that's what I've had a abundance of.
The Jester and the Knight.
Every has a role to play, a mask that makes them profitable and entertaining to white audiences. And while there are many variations, the two most consistent archetypes are the Jester and the Knight. Different masks, same purpose. Whether they clown or crusade, both archetypes ultimately serve the same role, and that's reassuring white audiences that racism is either laughable or non-existent. First, we have the Jester, the oldest and most recognizable archetype of the entertainer who survives by making a spectacle of themselves, often at the expense of their own people. At its root, the Jester is a performer who embodies and exaggerates racist caricatures so that white audiences can laugh, feel at ease, and avoid confronting the realities of black life. And this figure isn't new. It stretches back to the minstrel shows of the early 19th century, where white performers would don blackface and prance around the stage mocking blackness, painting it as ignorant, lazy.
They've always been obsessed with us. Why? What is that? That's so weird. They've always been obsessed with us. It's crazy. It's weird, man.
Buffoonish. You know, a real staple of American culture. White folks just couldn't get enough of this shit. I don't know, it was like the 19th century version of Friends. Around the 1830s, we get Thomas Daddy Rice, who popularizes his character Jim Crow, a shuffling, grinning, broken English caricature of a rural black man. A caricature Rice himself loosely based on a disabled slave he had once seen. The caricature would soon become a symbol for black inferiority, so powerful and popular that the name itself would later be used to brand an entire system of segregation. But alongside Jim Crow, you also had Zip Coon, only this one was based on a city living dandy. While Jim Crow was a lazy, sloppy buffoon, Zip Coon was a ridiculous fraud. He was overdressed, misused big words, and worst of all, thought of himself as equal to white people. The joke was that no matter how hard he tried, he could never rise above his place.
Okay, so like Brandon Tatum. Right. Brandon Tatum uses big words he doesn't understand. Oh, no, actually, I feel, well, I was going to say the Hodge twins because those guys, their vocabulary is abysmal. However, they don't seem to try and portray themselves as intelligent, like Brandon Tatum does. You know what I'm saying?
You now have a role where a black figure exists only to reassure white audiences that blackness is inherently laughable, inferior, and unserious. From the very beginning, the Jester wasn't just about entertainment, it was about control. Eventually, black performers themselves are pushed into these roles, forced to mock their own people just to gain access to stages otherwise closed to them. The costume changes with the decades, but the script remains the same. You see the Jester morph into Hollywood, on the big screen with Stephen Fetchit and Willie Best.
What's your name?
Oh my God.
Here's something to worry about. If you white, what you mean? They won't hurt us because we slaves. They ain't fighting for us. But if you's white and southern, then you's the enemy. Oh, don't pay him no mind. Come on, children, get in there and hide.
On radio with Amos and Andy, and even in variety shows with Rochester Anderson.
Kingfish, you mean to say that you is an actual doctor?
Well, I ain't been blabbing it around, but I've been taking a correspondence course in doctoring.
He's the funny black friend, the clownish entertainer, the loudmouth comic relief who eases racial tension with jokes and dance moves. Different eras, different packaging, but the function never changes. Blackness was safe only when it was a punchline. Black people are tolerated as long as they keep the jokes coming and never demand too much seriousness. Today, the Jester thrives in the digital era. TikTok.
We need a black television show that makes fun of raccoons, bro. Yeah. I mean, sure, we've seen it done before. It's done in the Boondocks. I feel like so much of media that involves black people, it's either trying to portray black people in such a way that doesn't acknowledge the realities of race, or they do the complete opposite and portray black people as like, the whole point that they're there is to be, you know, a stereotypical black person. But besides the Boondocks, right? Is there a black show that I don't know about? Like a real popular one, a good one, that where a core component is making fun of raccoons?
YouTube, Instagram, entire careers are built around parroting black culture for white clicks. Sometimes he leans into exaggerated AAVE or quote-unquote hood stereotypes for laughs. Other times he positions himself as the safe black person who it's okay to make racist jokes around. You want an N-word pass? Don't worry, he'll give you one.
Oh yeah.
What is he like there? He got a fast nigga. Oh, yo, come on, boy.
Bo Ray, don't give a fuck.
Damn. Shit.
I mean, he is a raccoon. We gotta call a spade a spade. He is a raccoon.
Nigga, please. Nigga, please.
It's like, you know, that's what makes it nasty, bro. You see, it'd be one thing if you genuinely don't care if other people outside of your race says the word. Of course it's nasty. It's still raccooning to let that shit slide, in my opinion. Especially if the person is white. I'm not telling you to go be the N-word police and start getting into confrontations with other people that are using the word that aren't black. But I do think that if you have friends that aren't black that use that term, you should let them know that that's not okay for them to use that word. And if they continue to use that word, then you should stop being their friend. I truly believe that. Secondly, you should never platform non-black people who are comfortable using that word. You don't have to be this aggressive person and get in confrontations with people who, you know what I'm saying, use the word and they're not black. You're not the N-word police. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm saying to remove yourself from people and environments that don't respect you and your culture and your people, and don't empower people who don't respect your people and your culture. But why this is worse is because you bait the person into saying the word and then you pretend to be outraged, offended, shocked, or surprised. This is even nastier than just letting the shit slide.
He might even make fun of real issues such as police brutality or systemic inequality, as if centuries of oppression, violence, and pain are nothing more than material for a punchline. It's how we get King Batch making an entire career off of chicken, watermelon, and crime jokes.
For a bottle of lotion a day, you can help these ashy African-American children. Please call now.
I made it out the hood, baby. Welcome back.
All crime is legal.
Today's a good day.
You know, and King Batch, I think, has put in a lot of effort into getting a lot of this shit removed from the internet, because I've tried. I mean, clearly it's still there to be found if he's finding it. But I've tried looking for King Batch raccoon moments before for another video, and it was pretty hard to find these clips. I don't know where he's finding these, but this guy truly was just a huge sellout, and still is to this day.
I show Speed barking like an animal while also letting his non-black fans call him and make racial jokes at his expense.
What's this?
It's a cotton. Look.
Cotton? I never got gifted cotton.
You all up there?
Why do you give me cotton?
Yeah.
W give chat.
Open that shit. Open that shit. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it.
You're gonna love it.
You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it.
Wait,
you're gonna love it. Come here, motherfucker.
Master, I'm tired of picking cotton. Please give me another job.
That's how you get all these tomfoolery ass niggas on TikTok eating food in a messy manner while dancing like chimpanzees. Hell, this nigga is literally calling himself the grooving gorilla. You cannot get any more on the nose than this. It doesn't matter the variant or the medium, in every form the Jester's job is to turn blackness into a spectacle. He makes racism easier to consume because it's coated in laughter. And that is why he works. The Jester works because he makes racism feel good. He doesn't challenge the audience, he comforts them. Instead of forcing white American audiences to face the ugly reality of racism and systemic inequality, the Jester flips those realities into comedy. Pain becomes parody, suffering becomes slapstick. The cruelty of anti-blackness is softened, wrapped in laughter, and handed back as entertainment. The audience can consume stereotypes without guilt because, at the end of the day, it's all just a joke. But just a joke is exactly what makes it powerful. Laughter disarms. When racism comes dressed as comedy, it doesn't feel like hate, it feels like permission. You're not laughing at black people, you're laughing with them. You get a pass. Hell, after all, the black guy telling you the joke wants you to laugh. White audiences can laugh at caricatures of blackness without guilt because humor provides cover. And that thin veil of irony makes the Jester effective, turning mockery into entertainment and entertainment into normalization.
Yeah, this is something I've noticed. There are a lot of black people who don't realize your willingness to just let it be a joke, how much that is actually holding back society and stopping progression. No one's saying you gotta be this like angry Dr. Umar character and be chastising people because somebody, you know, says something that's racially charged, that's offensive to black people. You just don't laugh. Don't participate. You know, the other day I was, you know, in the VR world, in the MetaQuest VR world, and it's just, of course, it's just a lot of incel racists that flock to video game communities. And so we're in there and there's this white dude and he's wearing this avatar and he looks like Voldemort, but it's like a very dark skinned character, but it doesn't look, it's not brown. It's almost like gray. And, you know, people are cracking jokes on each other. I'm not hearing anything racial at this point. And so I look at this guy and I'm like, oh, this guy got the Voldemort skin on. And then he looks at me and my character is, of course, like a black character. And he's like, yeah, I'm one of y'all. And I just didn't respond. I was just quiet. But I continue to like look dead at him because you see, even if I were to then like try and roast him back in like a joking way, it's still consenting to his behavior. But then of course, some other black person standing by bails him out by trying to make light of the situation and start cracking jokes on him. Stop giving people who aren't black permission to make fun of your blackness, bro. Stop it. But we're gonna stop the video here. I'm going to do part 2 and we'll dive into the other segments of this video. This is a really good video, man. I'm really enjoying this. And so y'all let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and until next time, peace out.